Good afternoon, everyone. Chris Brecher here with the July 30th market recap. Typical opposite day. If you go down on the Fed, you go up the next day. Now, are there any differences in here than normal? Well, number one, I think everybody forgets that when markets are in a downtrend is when you get the most violent rallies. Now, I'm not saying that this is that we're not going higher, but I'm just saying that is a big old violent rally. Wow. Now, does that mean an outside reversal and now you go straight up? Well, I'll show you something interesting. There are a number of stocks that gapped down yesterday, and that could be an exhaustion gap. Let me show you what we're talking about. Even the mighty Google. So Google has been going down and down and down, like you see. And then on earnings, it had that wallop to support. So that might be an exhaustion gap. Now, it's only rallying to resistance, but it's something to monitor. How about something like Micron? Down, 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 sort of a whoosh, but not really an exhausting gap. But I'm just telling you right now, what a lot of people are missing is the 50 moving average going to roll over. Everybody misses that all it is a 50 days. So I go to the date and go to here and go to 50 days. Just go to here, go to 50 days. Is it lower than 50 days ago? Yeah, it's lower. If it stays in this zone, let's say for a week, is it going to be lower than 40 days? I mean, down to here. So move it over. Darn right, because you had that parabolic move. So the 50 will roll over. Now, if it gets up to this area up here, sure, the 50 will stay elevated. But just keep in mind that relative to 50 days ago, that's going to roll over. How about the SanDisk of the world? You know, it had a 50% retracement. I don't care what it does, the 50 moving average is going to roll over. And what's it mean to me? At the moment, it means to sell obscure, obscene rallies. So if you see a big reversal, I'm not going near shorting that when it looks like a bull flag. I'm talking about up here. Now, where's the resistance on a lot of these? Forget about the moving average on an hourly. Where's the big old resistance? Yeah, about 1450 in that area. That would be a bear killer. How about MU? Where's the resistance in there? It's there. So you could even do it like that. All that schmutz area is resistance. What's it mean to me? Doesn't mean to go near it yet. What it means is if you even think of shorting it, you got to look for the rollover ultra short term. Now, keep in mind with these massive moves, or one day it's down 100, one day it's up 100, you're going to get a lot of premium that's in the sky for tomorrow, even tomorrow. And I want to go over that and what we're talking about. I went over it at length in the chat, but I want to show you what we're talking about. And we've been very successful. You don't have to pick this stock exactly right, but one of the biggest mistakes I see on other sites is always buying premium. The professionals are selling premium to them. So it's amazing. And I'll show you what we're talking about in a minute. But what do I think of the broad market? I think now the ES on a daily chart is at the 50, right there where my hand is. Where's the Dow? The Dow is at the 50. Where's the NASDAQ? The NASDAQ's way under the 50. I wouldn't be surprised, and I said this yesterday, if the NASDAQ got up to here, but a lot of these other indexes like the regional banks and the banking index have another leg down. Because really in the grand scheme of things, go and look at the SPX again. Go to a weekly chart. Yeah, it's near a high. Now go to the NDX. And it's had a big blip. So I'm just telling you, a lot of indexes like the KRE haven't even had a downtick. Now, why is that important? Because the bond market has gone down. These are usually interest rate sensitive. So I would watch those really carefully about, let's say, a rebalance kind of idea. So a lot of dividend stocks got nailed today as well. They should, as they're interest rate sensitive. But I wanted to go into this and show you on how we're going to trade tomorrow. There was a thing when I was on the floor. I was in the IBM pit for 8 years on the CBOE. There was a thing when we were down there called the Schwarzatron. What's a Schwarzatron? You could manipulate prices just like you can do now with the Analyze tab with Thinkorswim. So what are we talking about? In the Analyze tab, you can go into here. Let's say we were doing some spread and you just do the Analyze tab. And you can do that, do price slices. What we did back then, well, I did, is I would take IBM and I would take a printout of every hour. Now, I know you can use theta and gamma and delta. All I wanted to do is see every hour what the decay was, especially near expiration. So that's what we were doing today. What are we talking about? All we're doing in here is we're looking at BE. This is what we did. We're looking at BE and we're taking the on demand and we're taking last Thursday on the close. Last Thursday on the close. Now, we can also do it for tomorrow every hour just to see where the options are. And you can make a lot of money on this, but I'll show you what we're talking about. We're going to go to the 23rd after hours just for the close, because I want to show you what works. I like edge. So I like that if you do look at the charts wrong, you can still make money with premium. If you can combine it with good chart techniques, you're really ahead of the game. When I was on the floor, I combined charts with premium, and it's a big advantage. Now, this is what I think you'll find interesting. Do you see where the stock is, 217? That's where it is right now for this week. But let's just take last week. This is on the close, So the stock's 217. Where are the 250 and the 260 calls? So they're 33 points out of the money. They're bid 25 offer 80. Where are the 260s? They're about 19 cents, maybe 22 cents. Why am I showing that? 43 points out of the money, they're 22 cents. Now go fast forward to today. When it was 215 this morning, that was the absolute high. Where were the 260 calls? Go and check this out. They were well over a buck. Well over a buck. Look at this. They were a buck. So believe it or not, we sold the 262 and a half at 90 cents. What's the moral of the story? Stock was 215. 262s were 47 points out of the money. Go again to on demand and go to 47 points out of the money with 1 day to go. You can even go to 30 points out of the money. So, and when you go to 30 points out of the money last week, just go to the 250s. Go to the 250s, and they were 50 cents. So even if you were wrong on 15 points against you, you would have made money. That's edge. That's a big edge. So tomorrow, what are we going to do? You go on demand and go to the 24th. And what you're going to do in here, well, this is what I'm going to do, is I take 0936. Like I said, on a Schwarzatron, all I did was I took every hour and did a printout. So I had the printouts in my hand so I could watch it. So at 0936. Now, like I said, you can combine this also with chart technique. That puts you way ahead of the game. But I'll show you last Friday at 936. 936, because BE has a ton of premium. Like all the options, they're always juiced. I mean, you know, stock moves a lot. 936, 206. Where do you think the 230 calls were? There were four. Well, let's take the 225s. They were bid 50, offer a buck. See that? Bid 50, offer a buck. They're 19 points out of the money. Go an hour later. That's all you're doing. You're going to see that if you're wrong, what happens. So 18 points out of the money, you saw what they were. You saw 18 points out of the money, they were $1. So now we're going an hour later. This is all about time decay on expiration day. So, well, obviously you see what happened. It went down. They're probably nothing. But take 18 points right now. Even now, 18 points, 20 cents. So they went down from $1 to 18 cents. 18 points out of the money. Now, obviously, if you were playing it because it rolled over, you're way ahead of the game. So you could have sold the 225s at 85 cents. How do you know you could have sold them? Yeah, hindsight's an amazing thing. Go to a 1 minute chart. It gapped down, bear flag right there. When you see that bear flag on a short-term chart, you can sell out of the money calls, because even if it slowly goes back up, you have time working in your favor. We're going to play that, whether it's BE, whether it's SanDisk, and I'll play calls and puts, don't get me wrong. Today we were shorting puts in Newmont. It looked great. We're shorting puts in WPM, wheat and precious metals, because I was bullish on gold and platinum and palladium, because if the Fed didn't raise rates, good for precious metals. That's why we're long precious metals. So tomorrow, I want the ones with the biggest juice, the biggest premium. That would be BE, that would be Micron, that would be Broadcom, maybe even Apple on earnings. So a number of those high flyers, SanDisk, WDC, Seagate, and that's what we're going to play tomorrow. One last thing. I warned before the close, I'm really into historical precedents, not just chart patterns. Apple, almost every time that the stock on a day, it's only happened twice in like the last 5 years, but when it's really rallied into earnings, it sells off on earnings. Really rallies into earnings, it gets plowed on earnings. So you saw it there. How about here? Nope. How about here? Yep, right there. How about here? That was the big kahuna right here. That was the one I showed as an example. Go and look at this. Rally, rally right here. Look at that. Rallied right in, let me get it up here. I mean, all you got to do is do historical precedent. If it rallied into earnings dramatically, then the bar is so high. It's just pretty logical in there. So if you see any of these, what do you see? Yep, this is the one that looks very similar to now. Straight up, no matter what the overall markets were doing, and getting plowed on earnings. Now go and fast forward to Apple on the right. I warned about this. If it rallies dramatically into earnings, look at the daily chart. Yeah, you had 1 day down. Go and look what it's doing tonight. It's down 20. I tried to show you that. Hope it made sense. Have a good night. Talk to you later.